It live, guys. I am 20 minutes late because where I am staying, there is not a whole lot of Wi-Fi connection. So it's been a bit of a challenge this evening, but we'll see if any of you guys are still out there. I will stay on for a couple minutes and see what's going on. All right, for those of you guys watching the replay, go ahead and comment replay in the comment section. Let me know if you have any questions. I do go back and check each show to see who needed extra questions to be answered. All right, I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to jump on board. As you can see, I am still not in Florida. I am enjoying some time here in Michigan with my family, visiting family. And we are having a wonderful time. This gorgeous weather. It's been rainy all day, but it has now finally started to clear up. All right, so guys, as you jump on board, I am on a completely new computer system because mine did not want to cooperate today. Let me know if you guys can hear me, please. I am not on a microphone, so I'm having to use my big girl voice, and hopefully it will be enough. All right, just making some adjustments here. Okay, I see some of you guys popping on board this evening. Go ahead and give me a shout out. Let me know who you are, where you're from, what's in your mug, what happened to my computer. That is a fantastic question. I'm so glad that you can hear me right now. Okay, Richard can hear me. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that. Chris and Pam, awesome. You guys can hear me. All right, we got Eric on board coming in from the YouTube channel. All right, guys. Yeah, so my phone is deciding not to work today. So where we are kind of out in the boonies. So Wi-Fi is really fickle, and it decided to work with my husband's laptop, thankfully, and that's where I am broadcasting from, versus my phone that it's just deciding not to connect. So there you have it. All right, we got Chris from Iowa. Jerry's drinking a vanilla latte. You know what? I could use a vanilla latte right about now. And I am just looking up, guys. There was a question that was sent in for this evening that I am just looking it up on my phone so that I can make sure I address that question. But, okay, here we go. Aha. All right. We are going to go ahead and yeah, Kristen, you keep laughing. But you know what? I'm here. I'm 20 minutes late, but I'm here. Okay, guys. So for those of you who are joining me for the first time, and I know I'm ridiculously late right now, my name is Cosi Belloso. Welcome to the Cosi Talks live show. It's usually not this hectic. I am a physical therapist, amputee specialist. I have over 20 years experience of working in the field. Usually I am broadcasting out of my home in Tampa, Florida, but this evening I am in Traverse City, Michigan, which is just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous part of our country. So yes, I've had a lot of fun the past week. Hopefully you guys have had some amusement in some of the pictures I've posted on Instagram stories and on Facebook stories. All right. Yeah, Kristen, you know what, girl? Love you, but no, I'm kidding. Love you, Kristen. Hey, Marianne, you're here. Wonderful. Okay. So guys, I actually had a viewer who emailed me this week, which, by the way, guys, I have nothing prepared for this evening. This evening is just a general Q&A session. So please start putting questions in the comment sections and give me something to talk about. Hey, Starla from Texas got approved for her RevoFit socket today. Awesome. Oh my gosh. And guys, we're having RevoFit. We're actually having Click Medical, who makes the RevoFit. They will be coming on the Cosi Talk show possibly August 16th. But we're going to have a really great show planned. Hey, compadre. I made it finally. Yay. Okay, so guys, this question came in from Lisa. She said her 57-year-old husband is about 10 days out of having his below the knee amputation, and they are in North Iowa. Okay, so they are asking for resources for networking with the amputee community in Northern Iowa. So if there's anybody out there, my viewers, I know I do have some viewers in the Dakotas, and I've got some viewers scattered all throughout the United States. So if you guys, any of you all are from Iowa or know of support groups in Iowa, Northern Iowa specifically, please, please, please post it in the comments section. And I'm going to kind of mention this throughout the evening in case as new people come on board to listen to the show. Jim, I appreciate the plug, guys. I am a word of mouth business. So guys, I appreciate when you guys recommend this show to your fellow amputees and caregivers and clinicians. So while I'm waiting for you guys to put your questions into the comments section, go ahead and start putting those in because otherwise you're just going to hear me rambling about my vacation and, nobody wants to hear about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about one thing I did on vacation and it actually got a lot of really nice response from you guys on social media. So a couple of days ago, I took my 4 kids and one of my cousins, and we went to a horse ranch nearby. And we had a wonderful, wonderful horseback ride for a good hour. It was really kind of nice because my kids had never really had the chance to take a horseback ride tour. They'd never really had that chance, and it was just really wonderful. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. So one of the things that as I was riding the horse, and guys, it had been probably about 20 years since I had been on a horse, so it'd been a while, and just realizing the next day, very, very sore the next day, totally worth it. But realizing I was like, once upon a time, when I was first a therapist, equine therapy started becoming a thing. Right. So I was in school in Miami, and I remember hearing about an association that provided horse therapy for children with cerebral palsy, right? And it's interesting because back in the 80s, right, when this started first coming out, it was met with a lot of controversy because they're just like, how are you going to put children with cerebral palsy with all the spasticity and tone that they can have and put them on a horse, right? And interestingly, what they started finding was that the horse therapy was making them stronger, which is again a very controversial thing because with all the spasticity and how tight their muscles were, it was almost like contraindicated to strengthen a child with cerebral palsy. But thankfully, cooler heads prevailed, right? And they started doing studies and they realized two things: a, strengthening for children with cerebral palsy and other developmental disabilities is a wonderful thing, right? It's wonderful to allow them to help work through that spasticity. And two, horse therapy is a really fantastic way to help with this strengthening. Okay. And I'll tell you what, going for that horseback ride and then waking up the next day with everything that was sore made me realize just how much you use when you're just even riding a horse, right? You don't even have to go trotting, just staying on the horse, right? And by the way, guys, any of you guys out there, I know a lot of you were posting some really great pictures and stories about you guys on horses. I want to hear from you tonight, okay? So please start putting in your experiences with horses. Tell me, have you been back on a horse since your amputation? I know some of you posted pictures that you were getting back on the horse after amputation, and I love that, right? And again, I'm not very experienced with horses. My father was an expert horseman, and I know he had a real love for that. So I know that's something that for many of you, if you're into horseback riding, that's something that's a passion for you. But kind of getting back to the strengthening side of it, guys, once you're on the horse, just staying upright, even if it's a good, nice, calm horse like what I had, thankfully, I had a beautiful little Mustang named Fantasia that I got to ride. A lot of core strength, right? A lot of core strength just to stay upright and not go tipping out of the saddle, right? And then when your horse goes into a gentle trot, right, and you're having to do some posting there, yeah, you're using some serious muscles. Okay. And again, I am not an expert on horseback riding. So I would love to hear from some of you, what are your favorite hacks on literally getting back on the horse? Especially those of you who are left-sided amputees, because you get on the horse from the left side using your left leg to put yourself onto the horse. Are you able to get on a horse from the right side? Is that possible? So I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on this. All right, let's see what it says. uh, Sorry, using my husband's laptop, which just works a little differently than mine. All right, here we go. Jim says, curious that after 8 years and numerous sockets, is it abnormal that I've never been casted for my socket? Huh. Do you mean like a traditional casting, Jim, or have they used some of the computerized techniques to come up with the mold for your socket? I mean, it could be that if you have a very stable limb, it could be that your prosthetist just continues to use the same mold. If you have a stable limb that hasn't changed, I don't know, Jim. I don't know the answer to that one. But again, do they use some sort of computerized? But if it's been 8 years, that technology hasn't been around that long, I don't think. Give me a few more details, Jim. Jerry says, going in tomorrow for a consult for a revision. He's a plastic surgeon and reconstructive. Have you heard of that kind of doctor doing them? Specializes in TMR as well. Yes, Jerry. And actually, I really love it when plastic surgeons do revisions. That's kind of my personal favorite. I have met some wonderful orthopedic surgeons, that do phenomenal jobs, general surgeons that also do phenomenal jobs. But I mean, if you think about it, the nature of the specialty of plastic surgery, it's to make things look good, right? And whenever I've had any surgery in general, any surgery among my patients, I can tell when there's a plastic surgeon involved. Is just a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. The scar lines are always a lot cleaner, and there's a lot less scar tissue involved because they do take the time to really suture every layer of tissue as they're closing up the wound. Actually, on my show, Dr. Dumanian is a plastic surgeon. Uh, Good heavens, the surgeons I had on my show last year featuring the targeted muscle reinnervation surgery, the TMR surgery, they are plastic surgeons. So Jerry, feel free, go back to my YouTube channel. Let me see if I can. Ah, you know what? It's not your computer and you just can't type quite as quickly. Okay, so guys, there's my YouTube channel, and I have all of my live shows archived there, and I think it's a little easier to find all my shows on YouTube. And I also have on my 2-minute chat section, Jerry, I have like a 2-minute chat on targeted muscle reinnervation. And underneath that video, I've listed all the links to TMR. So yes, TMR can certainly be done by a plastic surgeon. And I actually, for me, if I have a choice to whether to send someone for a revision to a plastic surgeon or an orthopedic, I kind of tend to favor the plastic surgeon without knowing anything else about the actual surgeon, without knowing anything else. Now I've had another surgeon on the show, Dr. Dedesi, and he's a phenomenal orthopedic surgeon. He does TMR and RPNI surgeries. Okay, so again, it goes into the experience of the actual surgeon and then the specialty, maybe a little bit more. If all things being equal, yeah, I kind of like the plastic surgeon. We also have the plastic surgeons that are doing the osseointegration surgeries, with the Oprah system. Some of the nicest closures that I've seen for the osseointegration have been done by plastic surgeons. It just looks aesthetically pleasing. Jerry says, my daughter with cerebral palsy has done horse therapy and it's great. Isn't it amazing? Right? So it's interesting when I was a fresh physical therapist, and this was over 20 years ago, horse therapy and aquatic therapy were kind of becoming the kind of hip and cool thing in physical therapy world. And it's something that I think it's wonderful, not just only in pediatric settings, but just, in the amputee setting, just, on top of using your core, you're using your adductor muscles, those thigh muscles, right? They get a nice workout there, right? I don't know about that harsh. Here's my dirty little secret. I've actually always been kind of nervous around horses. I had a couple experiences as a kid. So I was just really happy to be able to kind of take my kids and get back in the saddle myself and just let my kids have that experience. And it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Yes, it is absolutely beautifully still here in Michigan. This is, they call it God's country here. And I can um, totally agree with this. Just been measured. Okay, so Jim, you know what? I don't know the answer to that question, so let me go find out. Jim, do me a favor. Send me, because I am still on kind of vacation mode, and I don't want to blank out on you. Send me an email, Jim, with that question, and remind me that I need to go and find you some answers for that, because that's something actually the casting process, I really need to kind of learn more about it myself. I know the basics, but need to learn a little more. Let's see. Charlie says, I had 3 revisions done by a plastic surgeon and my stump looks like a facelift. Well, the question is, does it look like a good facelift or a bad facelift? What kind of a facelift does it look like, Charlie? All right, here we go. Yeah, and Jerry, again, don't be afraid to ask questions. So those of you who are going in for revisions and you don't know the surgeon, interview them. Ask them these questions. Ask them on average, how many targeted muscle reinnervation procedures do they do? What is their success rate? What are their outcomes? Not success rate. The best word to say, what are their outcomes, their patient outcomes? How many of their patients have seen a resolution or an improvement in their pain from neuromas, right? Ask them these questions. Don't be shy about it, right? The surgeons that are good, they're going to want to let you know that they're good, right? And they're going to want to put you at ease and saying, yeah, I've done this several times. I've had great outcomes and you're at the right place, right? All right, Jesse says, doing research on adjustable socket, found three different types. Not sure how to bring it up to my prosthetist. We don't have a great relationship. I am really sorry to hear that, Jesse. And again, Jesse, I'm going to plug my YouTube channel again. One of my sponsors this year and last year has been Ronnie Dixon. He is a prosthetist. He's also an above the knee amputee. And he is the owner of POA in Tennessee, Prosthetic Orthotic and Associates in Tennessee. A lot of people know about the Orlando location, but there's a location in Tennessee, and he's the one who heads that one up. So he has been sponsoring the Cosi Talk show last year and this year. And we one of the first shows that we did, Jesse, we talked about what it is that you should be looking for in your prosthetist. Okay. And what are some of the hard questions that you can ask your prosthetist? When I hear about somebody who says they don't have a good relationship with their prosthetist or their physical therapist, it makes my heart sink a little bit because these clinicians are going to be with you for the rest of your life, right? Think about it. Along with your GP, your general practitioner, any specialist that you might need. Okay. The two people that should also be a part of your permanent medical team are the physical therapist and the prosthetist. So you need to have a good relationship with them, and it's something that, as I get older and I'm having to visit my doctors, I'm realizing, yeah, I mean, obviously their competency is number one, but I need to have a good relationship with them. That does make a difference. Okay. So Jesse, I'd be curious, what is it about your prosthetist that you feel like you're not having a great relationship? Like what about that is not working? So put that in the comment section for me. Thanks, Harsh. Okay, so Marianne says that she was measured, she was not casted when you were BK. Okay. All right, Jim. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, guys, quick question, quick Cosi poll. Who is going to the Amputee Coalition National Conference in Orlando? It's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Actually, very soon, actually, in the next week, end of next week. So who's going? I want to hear it. I want to see show of hands. Who's going to go? Uh, okay, so Jody says, getting ready to go for a total knee replacement on the good leg in Salt Lake City. Best orthopedic surgeon in the country. Been waiting for a year and a half for this. That's awesome. And Jody, I applaud you for definitely doing your research because this is your sound leg, right? This is technically your stronger leg, so you definitely want to take really really good care of it. Absolutely. Happy ADA Day. That's right. It's Disability Awareness Month, I believe. Jerry is asking, do you think I should have TMR done too at the same time? I have to get both legs done. If you mean, do I think you should have the TMR done while you're having the revision? Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing, Jerry, here's some questions to ask. Are you having pain from neuromas? And if so, then yes, if the surgeon has been able to diagnose the neuroma and it's what is in fact causing your pain, then yes, absolutely. You're already open on the surgical table. So to do the TMR procedure is just, get it done right there. It's interesting because as I was talking to Dr. Jason Souza, he was one of my TMR surgeons on the show for Veterans Day last year. And ironically enough, he's going to be back on the show for Veterans Day this year, and he's going to be talking about osseointegration. So it's just kind of funny how we've come full circle. Very incredibly talented surgeon. And in talking to him, he was saying, the art of TMR is knowing which nerves, right? Which nerves to perform the procedure on. It's not that you have a hammer and everything's a shiny nail, right? So I would just have a really careful conversation, Jerry, with the surgeon and saying, okay, what is your approach? How do you determine which nerves are going to receive TMR and which nerves are going to be left alone? You know, Jerry, I don't know if I missed this, but are you in fact having pain from neuromas? And if so, how is that surgeon going to pinpoint which neuromas are the ones causing the phantom pain? So these are just questions to ask your surgeon and just see what they have to say. Yes, harsh. Ronnie Dixon is in fact from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Yep. Awesome guy. I totally agree. Yep. Let's see. Jesse says, I can or don't do anything right. He always puts me down. It's always my fault. Even though my socket doesn't fit correctly, a lot of pain. Uh, that's a lot of red flags for me, Jesse. That's a lot of red flags. I always tell people, if you are not comfortable with your prosthetist or your physical therapist, guys, I put us on the same chopping block, then find yourself another one. And it starts by asking for a second opinion. Okay. Whether it's because you're having difficulty communicating with a particular prosthetic component that you want to try and you feel like you're not getting answers or you feel like you're not getting the right fit. Getting a second opinion is just that. It's a second opinion. You don't have to commit to changing to the prosthetist, but it's good sometimes to see what other folks have to say. Okay. When it comes to personality differences like that, and that just sounds like there's a lot of negativity there. So it might be time to think about changing. And then the question is, well, then how do you go about, selecting a new prosthetist? And a lot of it is for me, word of mouth, right? There have been a lot of times here where I've asked you guys, who in this particular town knows of a good prosthetist and tell me why you like that prosthetist, right? So, Jesse, you can start by that way, just calling on some of your fellow amputees and just seeing, who are the prosthetists that they use, okay? And how are their experiences, okay? And just start having a second opinion about it. Okay, because this is the leg that you have to wake up with every day and that you have to use. So if it's not fitting you properly and there's a lot of negativity in that relationship with your prosthetist, you're not going to get very far. You're not going to get very far. All right. So Nick, hey, I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. Good to see you again. So Jerry says, I'm having pain from my tibia bones. They're sharp and I have longer fibula that my PMR said should be shortened. Yes, typically the fibula bone. So I don't have Bob with me here, right? But your tibia is the big, fat, juicy shin bone below your knee. And the fibula is just like a little thin bone on the side, right? Especially when you eat a chicken wing, you can see that, the two little bones. So the fibula typically is shortened just a little bit more. And it's just kind of left free floating in most cases, unless you have the Erdl procedure. But that's a whole nother topic for later. So yeah, Jerry, if you're going to have that kind of a revision done, absolutely. I always recommend if you're already on that operating table, bring TMR up. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, that's right. You met your new, Harsh says he met his new prosthetist and gait training from Cosi. Didn't realize that. All right, I'm going to scroll through to make sure I didn't miss any questions. Guys, feel free to keep putting questions. All right, so I know Jim is going to the Amputee Coalition conference. Is anybody else going? All right, scrolling through. There was a question here about the adjustable sockets. There was a question here. Hang on, guys. Bear with me. Okay, so in the meantime, Jesse, if you're doing the research on the adjustable sockets and the 3 different types, yeah, I mean, definitely you got to get yourself with a prosthetist who's going to be on board to listen and talk with you, and ask them the different questions. Which adjustable socket technology are they familiar with, if they've had any experience, right? Hey there, Paul. Good evening, Paul from New Hampshire. You're a little ways away from home. So Paul, we were just talking about horse therapy, and I know you've had some experience with equine therapy as a physical therapist, so feel free to chime in. So we were talking about some of the benefits that included a lot of core strengthening that's involved, especially once that horse goes into a trot. Woo! Learned that one the hard way. And then also the use of the thigh muscles, specifically the inner thigh muscles, the adductor muscles, right? And also, if you're doing something like the trotting and you're starting to do posting in the saddle, working those glutes. Yeah, ask me how I know. Phew, right? All right, let's see. All right. So, actually, guys, it's been a pretty quiet evening this evening. I don't see any more questions. So, guys, just to give you kind of a sneak peek, next week, next Wednesday, actually, I just realized this now. Next Wednesday, I will be broadcasting to you guys from the Amputee Coalition Conference, and I will be hanging out with some of my favorite folks on the College Park team. So, you guys will hopefully recognize Reggie Showers. He will be on board. So he will be joining me, and we're going to be broadcasting to you from the Coalition Conference and hopefully giving you guys, those of you who aren't able to make it, hopefully a sneak peek from the behind the scenes. So Nicholas is saying, I'll be having a total knee replacement on my amputated leg. Any helpful tips? Yes. Nick, make an appointment with your physical therapist now. And when I mean that, I just mean have things set up for yourself. Because with a total knee replacement, one of the key things is getting that range of motion as soon as possible. Okay, so most likely, I would be really surprised if you didn't have a physical therapist working with you the moment you are cleared from the recovery room. We get started fairly early, right? Making sure that you are really following your P's and Q's about not putting anything underneath your knee. That's going to be a big one for you, especially since it's being done on your amputated side. We don't want to have any knee flexion contractures, right? We want that knee lying nice and straight. And then if you guys remember what I said last week, not letting the residual limb roll out to the side. So you want that knee nice and straight when you're in the bed. So just those first things when you wake up, and the quad strengthening. That's definitely something, activating those quad sets to help with the inflammation and to also help with the pain, because that helps there. So Nick, if there's one thing I want you to remember is when that physical therapist walks in that room, you say to them, please teach me how to do quad sets, right? And you're going to make that PT very happy. Okay. Making sure that you are set up at home. So figure out what is going to be your discharge situation. I've been hearing some people go home the same day after surgery from the total knee replacement. I've got mixed feelings about that, but every surgeon has their protocol. So whatever it is that you're going to do, Nick, just have your discharge plan in place. If they are in fact sending you home the day of surgery, first of all, squeak the wheel and see if they can let you stay overnight. Second of all, have your home environment set up, because obviously you're going to be probably, actually, this is a question I don't know the answer to. Depending on your surgeon, you may or may not be allowed to wear your prosthesis after surgery. Chances are, even if you are allowed to wear your prosthesis, it may not fit because of the swelling from surgery, right? So if you've already learned how to use crutches or a walker, okay, you're going to have to bring those back out again and use those again, okay? And then again, just having your home environment ready to go. So if you need to set up your shower stall, which it may already be set up because you're an amputee, but if you're using the crutches, the walker, you may need to just figure out your bathroom situation and have all these things set up before you go into your surgery, okay? And then as you continue, so usually with the total knee replacements, the initial thing is get the range of motion, and prevent the contractures from setting in. Most importantly, preventing the flexion contracture, right? After you've reached about a week or so where you're starting to really get that range of motion going nicely, then you're really going to want to focus on the strengthening, okay? And again, with total knee replacement on a below the knee amputee side, okay, it's very similar to how you did your strengthening after you became an amputee. You're really going to be hitting the quads, the hamstrings, and the glutes, okay? Really hitting that up. And again, Nicholas, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the strengthening program that I have already, but the strengthening program that I developed, it can be used for post knee replacement. In fact, I would highly recommend for you to look at it because it's been adapted for someone with an amputation. And all the exercises that are in that program, they are the same exercises that I use on my total hip and total knee replacement patients, okay? Let's see. Okay, so Nicholas said that you'll be going home that very same day. So again, um, obviously the doctor's probably not going to let you go home by yourself. So have somebody there with you. And movement, Nicholas, have them ask them this question. Is a physical therapist going to work with you before you are sent home that day? Okay. If the answer is no, then what I strongly, strongly recommend that you do is to call your physical therapist and make at least one appointment before your surgery. Okay. And here's why. When you go home, I'm hoping that you'll receive home health physical therapy. If not, that's something else that you need to make sure that the surgeon has a home health physical therapist coming to you the day or 2 days after your surgery. Okay. But in that time frame, those first 24 to 48 hours after surgery, there are simple things that you can be doing to help with the pain, to help with the range of motion. So it would behoove you to make that appointment with the physical therapist before your surgery so that they can teach you these exercises and things to do so that the minute you get home from surgery and you're, a little bit awake from that anesthesia, you can start working on these things. Okay. And this is going to give you a huge head start. Huge head start. Okay. So I know I just threw a lot of things at the kitchen sink at you, Nicholas. So the main takeaways for your knee replacement surgery: prepare. Okay. Ask your surgeon, are you going to be seeing a physical therapist before he sends you home? If not, get that physical therapy appointment before your surgery and have the physical therapist give you the first 24 to 48 hours of protocol exercises to do. Have the surgeon order the home health physical therapy so that when you get home, you don't spend more than 1 or 2 days without a physical therapist coming to you in the home to start working with you right then and there. Okay? Sounds good? Yeah. So Paul's right. You, depending on your surgeon, right, and depending on how your prosthesis is set up, you're probably going to have to stay out of the prosthesis because of the sutures, and until the staples are out. And number two, your limb is going to be pretty swollen, so it's probably not going to fit in there anyways. Okay. 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 Did I get everything? Sorry, guys. My husband's computer is. I like mine better. Paul says, equine therapy will help you find muscles you forgot you own. Yes, and I experienced that the day after I woke up after going horseback riding. I was like, oh, I didn't know that muscle existed. Okay, good. So Richard, you're going to be listening even though you can't go to the conference. And guys, again, I'm going to be broadcasting throughout I'm going to be there for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of the conference. So if you're going to the conference, please stop by and say hello. I'll be at the College Park booth. I am doing a presentation on the gait cycle. So if you can come and listen in on me, it's Thursday at 11 a.m. if you're at the conference itself. And if you're going to the conference, guys, I would love the chance to meet some of you guys and shake your hands. But you're going to have to tell me what your name is because I'm used to seeing pictures that are this small on the computer screen. And for those of you who are not able to make the conference, again, I will be doing several broadcasts on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from the conference itself. If you have not already done so, here we go. Go to my website. It's www.cositalks.com. Scroll to the bottom and sign up for my email subscription because then I'm going to be sending you emails on what time I'm going to go live for the next week and what time I'm going to be doing these presentations. Capiche? Oops. Okay. So Jerry, with the revision. Okay. Sorry, guys, I'm like scrolling through because I'm seeing some comments come in. Okay, so Nick says they want you to walk a bit while you are there. So that's good. They're going to have you up and walking before you go home. Keeping in mind, you're not going to be using your prosthesis while you're up and walking because chances are, again, prosthesis or the residual limb is going to be very swollen and the prosthesis might be bonking up against those suture lines, which they don't want that to happen. Okay. But yes, figure out, I'm glad that they're going to be working with you to teach you how to walk around. Chances are it's going to be the nurses doing that. Nurses are wonderful people, but they may not necessarily know the exercises that you need to go home. So again, call the physical therapist, make that appointment before your surgery, have them give you that pre-op setup. Once upon a time, guys, like when dinosaurs roamed the earth and I was starting out as a physical therapist, people had physical therapy before their surgeries. Before their surgeries. So before their total knee replacements, before their total hip replacements, before their ACL repairs, before their meniscal repairs, they had a short course of physical therapy to get themselves strong for surgery. And unfortunately, because of insurance, we've done away with that. Same with revisions. Yes and no, Jerry. A lot of it just depends on, what was done during the revision. Um, the surgeon is going to have very particular parameters for what you can and cannot do, especially if it's a plastic surgeon. Okay. Plastic surgeons are amazing and they're meticulous about their work, but they're also very picky about their protocols, and you must follow their protocols to the letter. Okay. If you want to have the best outcome with those surgery, right? The general thing is the same, meaning you'll want to have that physical therapist looking at you the minute your eyes are opening up. Okay. The biggest thing those first couple of days after any surgery is getting yourself mobilized as safely and as quickly as possible. Okay. And then movement. Again, whatever movement is allowed according to the surgeon. Okay. So, Jerry, since you're having a lot of work with a lot of soft tissue work and revision done, your scar line might be in a particular place that the surgeon may not want you moving that knee for the first few days. Again, follow those protocols, but the same blanket applies in terms of get that physical therapist, because they're going to be the ones literally walking you through what you can and cannot do. Paul says, if the leg is vascular and sensory intact, then ice is your friend. After a total knee, ask your therapist how they want you to use it. And yes, for me, I love ice. It's like the best pain relief possible. And as long as you have good sensation, okay, in your residual limb, then that to me is kind of like the pain medicine you can continue to take. But again, your physical therapist is the one who's going to be telling you, prescribing it to you, and letting you know how long to leave the listen to me, how long to leave the ice on and when to take it off. Okay. Yes, Marianne, I will be texting. By the way, guys, can you just let me know, did you guys get a text from me this evening? Totally random question. I don't know if it went through or not. Marianne, did you get a text from me today? But yes, I will be I will be sending out a text before I do the broadcast, just to let you guys know that I'm going live. But again, please sign up for the email subscriptions, because there I will give you the schedule of what times I will be going live. Jody says, I've been doing physical therapy for quite some time pre-surgery. Yeah. And again, Paul, maybe you know the answer to this, but it was basically insurance, right? That's basically why we stopped seeing patients before their surgeries, which to me has always seemed a little backwards way of doing things. But oh, Jerry says you're doing my physical therapy videos before you get surgery. Yes, bravo, Jerry. Okay, so Jerry, the ones that you should focus on, quad sets, okay? And the quad sets are on phase 1 of legs, hamstring sets, that's also phase 1 of legs, and then the straight leg raises in all the different positions, right? So, and that's all phase 1 legs, okay? And the bridges. But the bridges, again, after you've had your surgery, Jerry, wait till the physical therapist prescribes you those exercises. Because again, things change after surgery, especially with plastic surgery. But prior to the surgery, right? Quad sets, hamstring sets, the glute bridges, the straight leg raises in supine, side lying, and prone. Okay, all in the phase 1 of your legs. So those of you who have my book, right? Phase 1 legs. Same thing for those of you who have subscribed to my videos. Same thing, phase 1 legs. Yeah, Scott's like, because insurance thinks it knows best. Ha! That makes me so happy when I hear that people are doing my exercises before their surgery. That just made my day there, Jerry. Thank you. Okay, so you guys did not get my text message. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. And again, guys, I've been like, we're in the boondocks, so I'm lucky I've got Wi-Fi working. All right, I will get that working before the conference. Oh, so Starla got it. That's so weird. No text. Okay. All right, guys. Okay. So I think we answered some questions this evening. And like I said, next week, guys, sign up here, putting the link down one more time for the paying customers. All right. Sign up for my email subscription so that you'll know when I'm going live at the Amputee Coalition conference and you can join in on the fun. In the meantime, guys, keep sending me your questions. I will continue answering them. And with that being said, I think I'm going to wrap up things for this evening. It's been a long day, and I'm going to go get some rest. But as always, guys, thank you for letting me be a part of your lives this evening. And I will see you guys next week. Same bat channel, different bat time. And we will be seeing you guys at the Amputee Coalition Conference. Bye, guys. Have a great evening.